Hi, happy Monday. Welcome back to Let's Get Ethereal. I'm your host, Lauren, here to bring you all the information of the week ahead, what's coming up, how can we move through it, how can we feel supported and take advantage versus when to hang back. We'll talk about all of it. It's eclipse week. We have the Virgo lunar eclipse on the 3rd. We will deep dive all the ins and outs. And tonight is the moon event for that. Reminder, I host new and full moons every single month. So if you're watching this before the evening time, come to the moon event. If you're catching it afterwards, I always put the replay up on my website if you're interested in grabbing that afterwards. Okay, so let's kick it. We've got, yesterday we got a new numerology month kicking off. So March is a collective 4 energy in that 1 year that we're all moving through. Obviously, your specific numerology is much more your story. I have those readings on my website too, highly recommend. But all of our personal numerology stories get colored by the collective energy, right? So reminder, collective energy is what the compilation of all of our experiences, like the main themes going on, like globally, us as a human collective that we're all moving through together. And then individual energy, astrology, numerology is like your specific lens and specific, up levels, challenges, what you're moving through. That is like your lane in the midst of all the highways, which is the collective. Okay. So the 4, for everyone, we're getting a dose of 4 energy. 4, I call the adulting energy in numerology. So March is showing us how can we feel more grounded, prepared, heads down, get the shit done, adulting style. What have you been putting off? What systems could you put into place that will support you further down the line? It's the time to like take the beat and do the thing that maybe you've been avoiding or just feels like boring. Like this is the month to do it. So get organized, get disciplined, handle responsibilities that maybe you've avoided or that can bite you later. And so I always say the 4 is really, think of the 4s in tarot, it's the pause, reassess. How can I feel more grounded, present in my, whether that's your physical body? 4 is really good for getting back into a routine in that way, feeling more presence. It's also feeling more established, safe, and secure. What would you need to put into place to help you with those things? And I always say, whatever you implement in 4 energy, whether you're in a 4 year personally, or if you're just in a 4 month, that's your time of like whatever you're doing this month. You'll be very thankful for it later. It's what you're standing upon for months to come. So get it out of the way. And if you're listening and you're like, damn, I got promised by the internet that this fire horse energy was going to be, a fire under my ass, fast momentum, new change, swift. And it's like, we're in a Pisces heavy sky, which is the last sign. It's all like deep feely and like sleepy nap time. And it's Mercury retrograde. And we've entered a 4 month. So I hate to like burst the bubble, but that fire horse energy is like such a more simple view of like all the intricacies that like astrology is actually moving through. Yes, it's fast and potent. It happened on the eclipse because the second new moon, when the lunar new year hits, happened to be an eclipse. But reminder, that was a preview eclipse. It's before the nodes moved in. So the fire horse energy and that eclipse that gets stronger as we move through the year, same with the fire horse. It's still motivating. It's still going to be a fast-paced year. We're still in a collective 1 year. But March is kind of like, let's catch our breaths. Let's get our shit together. Let's implement some things so that we'll be feeling steadier down the road. Okay. So just wanted to mention that. All right, let's look at the chart and take a peek at what's to come this week. We'll do a little over the shoulder vibe. Okay. So as we wake up today, Monday, I have this set for 6 a.m. The moon has just moved into Virgo. Okay. I love a Virgo moon moment. Obviously, the eclipse will be in Virgo. So the moon is already there as we wake up. Virgo energy, when the moon is there, regardless of where Virgo is in your chart, this is the energy of like, okay, could we get some things done that we've been putting off? Organize, nest, make your checklists. And I think it's important to write down a list that is easy to actually cross off. I always like to remind everybody Virgo at its worst can be like critical perfectionist, which can create procrastinating perfectionism, meaning like we're not lazy. It's more about like, I want to do it perfectly. I want to wait for the perfect 6 hours that come along to where I'm not overwhelmed and I can get it done. Do those hours ever show up? Is that perfect time ever there? No. So that can make us like not even begin. So the Virgo moon is saying like tiny little changes build up and compound into great, checks. So put on your list starting today on Monday, write a list out of what you would like to accomplish this week. And don't put so much pressure on it, but make sure some things on your list are really doable. Also some fun things, some self-care things, like put a bath on there if you want and just feel like this is productive too. Okay. So that's my little advice for moon in Virgo whenever it's in Virgo. And it's also health, diet, like meal prep. Set yourself up for the week ahead. Okay. Also going on, we talked about this last week. Mars is still in square to Uranus. Okay. It has just entered Pisces though. So we'll talk about that. But that's what I mentioned last week. I'm like, watch the headlines, watch the news. And I'm recording this on Saturday and I woke up to the news of the attacks on Iran. So I haven't deep dove it and what it all means and what it's all for, but just know that's the epitome. Mars is explosive, Uranus is fast, unpredictable, surprise. And what I was saying last week is it's always like a shock. It's usually pretty intense or violent or crazy headlines. And that certainly happened. I think we started the week with the news around Mexico, which was so Mars Uranus coded as well. And then we have this one over the weekend. So, that's collective astrology. That's why I started this like when I did, because I knew like things are going to be intense. But y'all know my favorite thing is to focus on us as individuals. I don't like to get too deep into the news because it's just kind of disheartening. There's so much of it out there anyways, but I do like to give everybody a heads up of like, so if you did watch last week and you knew, okay, things are going to be intense. This is an intense week. Watch the news. And when it happens, my goal is just to hopefully you feel a little bit more settled and ready for these things. And how can you take care of your own nervous system? Like we talked about, how that energy plays out for the individual. So go check out last week. I really dove into the Mars square Uranus and how you can really utilize it and take advantage of it and what not to do. It's one of those transits where I'm like, hide out. If you can, don't interact and don't react and take a night in if you want to avoid the chaos. For us as individuals, still, we're starting off the week with that energy still a little tense. So watch out for accidents or, saying some insane stuff out of our minds. And reminder that I think it was episode 2 where I pulled up President Trump's chart. July, what I stumbled upon in his chart, which seems insane, Uranus in the sky is squaring his Mars. So if you want to think about Mars square Uranus being always intense no matter what, when that happens in someone's chart specifically, like one of the planets squaring their planet, whether this is directed towards him or he's the one implementing something wild, just heads up. Mars square Uranus is always intense, okay? All right, what else is going on? We still, Saturn and Neptune are still together at 1 degrees of Aries. This is the story that keeps on storying, okay? I won't repeat it, but know that this is major and hence the collective energy. But for us as individuals, wherever Aries is in your chart, it's like we can really make a dream reality here, okay? We're in the middle of eclipse season. This is always charged, exciting. Like I always feel very hopeful around eclipses. I don't know about y'all, but it's like, okay, there's pivot points. They're karmic. They shift our timelines. They start new stories and wrap other ones up. And if things leave and finish or pull away during eclipses, I always say, try not to grab and hold on and cling because it's easier said than done sometimes, obviously. but it's a time to trust and have faith and just kind of see what unfolds, which I know. I'm like y'all, I don't like sitting and waiting and uncertainty. Nobody does. But like even me like saying it out loud, it helps to know that this is the energy right now. It's a hands up, let it reveal, and trust and faith moment, because the things that are playing out now are going to be things that like you look back on and like, okay, that was really important in defining in my story, even if it's hard stuff like losses. I'm not trying to like spiritually bypass those as beautiful things. No, but they will be defining to your path in some way. Okay. But most people experience very exciting things during eclipses. I've had a lot of pregnancies in my DMs, a lot of new jobs, new relationships, new launches, so many launches, and people getting launches ready for when Mercury goes direct or around this eclipse. I'm seeing a lot of people with this Virgo eclipse having things being put out there because Virgo rules like the day-to-day work. What are we responsible for? What have we been doing? And it takes so much integrity and effort. And so let your special stuff be seen. Okay. So yeah, just a reminder, we're in eclipse season. It's Mercury retrograde. We got Mars square Uranus happened last week. We're still feeling it. We got the Saturn Neptune. Like, y'all, this is unprecedented energy. And the fact that Pisces, the emotional, like subconscious, bringing up fears, patterns, old stories, nostalgia, and it's like this pause before momentum, which can be excruciating for some people. We can feel like we're drowning in the feels. I've gotten a lot of people in my DMs like, you're not going nutty. It's totally normal right now. This is a lot. I think as individuals, like what's coming up is discomfort around the uncertainty, feeling like, okay, I need to go inward and feel everything, even if you're busy. It's like your nervous system and your body probably wants to rest, even if your mind is spirally. So just want to validate that's totally normal. And then if you pull up any news, it's fucking chaos, right? And so what does that do to our subconscious? Pisces is subconscious. So even if logically you're like, okay, I compartmentalize this, I've got this to do, this to do, this to do, Virgo's moon's going to help with that. It's like, make the list. That's really going to help. Focus on what you can control, what can you cross off, what can you do to make yourself feel like, reward, I feel better. But just, wanted to mention the opposite sign of Pisces is like energy absorption, subconscious fears that don't have anything to do with logically like what we understand. It's energetic, it's emotional, okay? So if you're feeling depleted and your logical mind's like, well, why are you feeling depleted? You can focus on this. Give it grace. You've got emotional body and mental body. You think of them separately, that helps a lot, okay? They're usually not on the same timeline trajectory. So give them time to catch up to each other, okay? Because Pisces is like, at its worst, it feels like quicksand, confusion, illusion, smoke and mirrors. At its best, it is so healing. So many like awareness moments, reflective ahas. Okay. All right. So on Monday out the gate, we have Mars, the planet of energy, drive, passion, motivation, entering Pisces. You see it at 000. Must be exactly when I clicked this at 6 a.m. Okay. So let me move my face out of the way. So when Mars enters Pisces, Mars spends, by the way, 2 months in a sign. Okay. Whereas the sun spends about a month in a sign, Mercury spends about 3 to 4 weeks in a sign, Venus 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. The fact that they're all in Pisces, you guys, like, just a little astrology heads up, Mercury and Venus always orbit near the sun within 2 signs. Okay. So if the sun's in Pisces, these two are going to be either in Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, sometimes back into Cap, sometimes further into Taurus, but they always are very close by. Mars, it goes wherever it wants because it's slower. So the fact that they're all teaming up is more rare, okay? And with Mars, I would say, you feel the shift in how you're operating, what your energy is like. So when it moves into a new sign, it's it's saying like, okay, here's the vibe of the motivation. Here's how you're going to take action, feel motivated or not motivated. And when it comes to Pisces, I'm like, Mars, action warrior. It's rules Aries, which is fire sign. It's fast, right? In water signs, it's just kind of like, oh, my fire is a little like now it's steam because it's being watered down. So just know motivation might be a little lackluster. Okay. Um, like I said, make the list, feel good about the little things you can cross off. Don't put pressure if you can help it to do big sweeping changes. Mars is like, our fire is kind of out right now. Okay. When it moves into Aries, boom, fast momentum. So give it like Mars will be here for like 6 weeks, up to 2 months. I would look, but I don't want to get us off track. So just plan for that. And because Mercury retrograde is also here, the sun is here, Venus is here, the North Node is here, it just means a lot of our core drives are all swimming in the same like emotional, intuitive water at one time. And like I said, that's pretty rare. Okay. So with this much Pisces energy, things can feel softer, blurrier, more sensitive, physically energetic sensitivity. Think sponge absorption. So mind who you're around, what you're absorbing, what you're watching, what you're listening to. We're all really sensitive. I always say like exposed nerve vibe. And so if you're feeling more tired, totally, please don't beat yourself up over it. I think with Virgo energy, we can criticize, especially with the Virgo eclipse coming up. So with all this Pisces, it's like, just let yourself be aware, feel, notice what's draining you, your own mindset, what you're putting your energy towards. Your motivations might be revealing like, do you really like these things that you're doing? Or is this like coming from patterning or societal pressures or family pressures or what you think you should be doing? This energy is really going to reveal like, do you really love it? Are you actually inspired? And if so, awesome. If not, okay, be gentle. This is definitely not let's go crush it energy, you guys. This is definitely more like, does this feel aligned, reflective type of motivation? Okay. And if it doesn't feel aligned, like I said, your body might resist it. It might just be like, nope. A lot of times people get sick around Pisces season. Yes, it's winter, duh, it's literal. But it's also like when there's a lot going on in Pisces, and if I look at somebody's birth chart, if I'm doing a reading, they have a lot in their 12th house. I'm like, slow down before the universe slows you down, literally with giving you the flu or a twisted ankle or something, because we're meant to be in reflective mode right now. And if we don't give ourselves that chance to sit in that discomfort, and like feel it all and sense it all, something might take over and slow you down and force you to do it. So I'm always like, okay, surrender. And like I said, this can be really, really great. And productivity, yeah, might not feel very linear, but clarity is there amongst the fog when you sit and you just feel it out and try not to force anything. But yeah, boundaries can feel a little thinner. Try not to overcommit and overdo. That's also a Mercury retrograde thing. But, there's a lot of upside to this. Y'all know I'm going to positive spin everything always. So this is a deeply intuitive moment. When you're inspired, things flow. When something's meant for you, it moves with ease. A lot of times our humanness can be like, well, I want to force control. If it's hard, I earned it. And it's like, sometimes just watch what is easy, what shows up, and then you act and it happened quickly. Those are signs that that's alignment. I always say Pisces being in the health axis, it's saying you're going to feel the most mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, Pisces to Virgo's physical health. You're going to feel the most emotionally fulfilled and healthy, in quotes, when you feel aligned with your dreams and you're actually putting your energy behind those things, okay? And you're trusting and you're flowing. instead of, you know, Virgo control force. Okay. And the nodes are in Pisces, Virgo, North node in Pisces saying, more here, please. South node in Virgo saying, scrub out the negative side of Virgo, because Virgo has amazing positive sides, y'all. Duh. But with the South node there, it's saying, okay, let's not get caught up in the tough side of it though. Okay. So yeah, I also love this energy. It's feeling very creative, very spiritual, very healing. And if you're acting from compassion instead of ego, things are going to feel really lovely. It's a time to connect with people on deeper levels. And I think it's just like getting in touch with authenticity and what feel like, honestly, what feels good, not what you think you should be doing. So honest conversations can be had. It can be very, very productive in a quieter, more aligned way. So I also say with Pisces, quite literally, it can be behind the scenes work. Okay. Get things done behind the scenes. Don't try to operate like we're in a fire transit, which is motivation and momentum. Instead, lean into flow, reflection, therapy, creativity. Because of Mercury retrograde, return to things, reconnect with things. Let old desires dissolve so that truer ones can surface. Pisces is also the ending before Aries, the new beginning. Okay. Aries is that 0 point of the beginning of a chart, beginning of the zodiac. Okay. Tuesday is the eclipse, and we're going to BRB with that. Okay. Because I want to deep dive the aspects with you guys. But that's going to happen at 12 degrees. Okay. Wednesday, we have something cute, a little meet cute in the sky. We have Venus, the planet of love, money, worthiness, value, in sextile exactly with Uranus. Okay. It's also conjunct Neptune and Saturn, which I'm going to talk about next, because it's about to move into Aries a couple days later in the week. But on Wednesday, Venus sextiling Uranus brings, like, I think, a little spark into whether it's for you more money and love themes. Depends, because Venus rules both. What it does is like really concentrate what those things have in common as worthiness and value, right? It's also very creative. I think of like Uranus is like, you know, future oriented, unique, quirky, innovative, different in a cool way. Venus is like aesthetics, beauty, art, creativity. And so this could be a download of like, oh, I have this cool design. I'm creatively inspired. I feel like, aha, a click moment around anything that you're creating or beautifying in your world. It's very refreshing. It's very unexpected. I like this energy for, I call it the meet cute. Like you can just run into people, have amazing conversations. Doesn't have to be romantic, but it definitely can bring in new attraction, surprising, like meetings, conversations, ideas, and small shifts that feel very exciting rather than chaotic. This is a sweet spot. Y'all know I love looking for the sweet spots, okay? So it's great for trying something different, saying yes to plans that you normally maybe wouldn't. Maybe you're dating differently, like, oh, they're not really my type, but my type hasn't been working. Let's try this. So it's light, it's liberating, it's open-minded, and it's just enough change. Like this is a subtle moment, right? It's not a big sweeping thing, but it's just enough change to feel alive without like getting caught up in the chaos. So I really love this energy. It's exact on Wednesday, but know that we're getting it all week long. It's just that when Venus does move into Aries on Friday, it's coming from a different sign, right? So love this. And the next beautiful energy we can expect. Now, keep in mind, we're feeling all of the above all week long, but I like to give you the exact moment. So if on Wednesday you have an idea, creative spark, or you meet somebody interesting, pay attention to that. Now, it can absolutely happen Monday through Friday, but Wednesday, I'm like, what's going on there? For Thursday, we have the sun in Pisces, trine, ease and flow, beautiful, harmonious to Jupiter. Luck, expansion, abundance. Jupiter's still retrograde, but Sun trine Jupiter, um, anytime the Sun and Jupiter get together, it's called the luckiest like transits, especially when Sun conjuncts Jupiter, which will happen later in the year. But that's when will it happen in July or August? I think it's August, like around my birthday. End of July into August, we have the Jupiter and Sun together. That's toted the luckiest day of the year. So if you think of Jupiter and Sun in a trine, also lucky, okay? So Jupiter brings optimism, expansion, growth. It's the big hug. It's indulgent. That's the only heads up with Jupiter. Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, so it does get pretty indulgent. But I feel like this is optimism that actually feels believable. So with all this Pisces energy, we can be like, am I being delulu? All my hopes and dreams feel stagnant, or they maybe aren't showing up, or they're delayed. That's just the energy. Everything's like, I promise it's all happening behind the scenes. But this transit comes along and saying, oh, maybe there's a little glimmer of it actually working out, things coming into fruition. Same with the Venus Uranus aspect as well. Also beautiful. So something could be feeling more believable now, and you may notice more clarity around your direction. Maybe it's a boost in visibility depending on what you're doing, or opportunities that feel supportive rather than overwhelming. And this feels very generous. Reminder, when it comes to Jupiter, I always say focus on gratitude, giving back, being generous. It's going to make you feel better anyways. This is fantastic energy. If you're out there listening and you're thinking of like pitching something, sharing something, teaching, launching, it feels very exciting. Because reminder, if you launch something new, it has a birth chart. So if you have Sun trine Jupiter in the birth chart of a launch, that's really nice and really lucky. Okay. Now, you could just be announcing something or having the idea. You don't, no pressure to rush and get it done for this. It's still Mercury retrograde. So like permission to wait until after the 20th of March for anything new. But if you've thought of this before and now it's time to implement it, do it. Mercury retrograde brings those things back around because it's like, now is the time. Okay. And like I said, you can get deals if you're the one consuming these things that people are putting out there. Okay. All right. Love this energy. Like I said, we're going to get it all week long. Go like take a leap of faith. That's the vibe. Okay, Friday, we have Venus, that planet of love, money, worthiness, value. It's been in Pisces for a long time. It's now exiting the group chat in Pisces, and it's going rogue into Aries. Venus in Aries, like Venus is that soft feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine. Aries is masculine energy. It's impulsive, it's desire, it's like go for it fast. Venus in Aries, it's going to be the vibe that like we feel kind of more immediately this week, because everything's so heavily in the water. This is going to be a nice little fiery moment, I think, in the best way. So everything Venus ruled gets more direct. Okay, I would say it's like we don't overthink when it comes to Venus themes as much when it moves into Aries. And when Venus is in Pisces, even though it's the best placement for it, it's exalted, it loves being there, it can get a little like too caught up in expectations, hope, and like adorably rose-tinted glasses. When it moves into Aries, it's more deliberate, and it's like it wants clarity, it wants honesty, it wants forward momentum. So you're going to feel more decisive about what you want. You're going to be less tolerant probably of mixed signals around any type of relationships, and more willing to initiate rather than waiting around. I think of when people have Venus in Aries in their birth chart, say you're a gal that dates men, like I always say my Venus in Aries gals, like you might be the initiator. You might be the one moving things along. You know what you want and you go after it. Okay. That's why we got to be careful with these, being the feminine, being the masculine. Like look at your birth chart. I have a friend who has Venus in Aries. She's definitely the leader of their relationship. And I have another girlfriend that's like a manifester, and she's like the leader in everything. And like sometimes they would love if their partners were to take charge, but that probably would be a conflict. Like if you're good at that, be good at that. Okay, random tangent. But for all of us, we're gonna really like feel more trusting of instincts, moving first. This could be creatively, this could be just more independent energy in general. And make moves, make money moves. Be careful, Mercury retrograde, right? This will be here for a few weeks, so enjoy it, okay? But as Venus moves through Aries, it's going to meet up with Saturn and Neptune, okay? It's already out the gate within a degree. But when Venus, the planet of love, meets up with both of these guys, like that, as we know, we've talked about it for weeks. Neptune is like dreamy. Venus loves Neptune, okay? At its worst, delusional and confusing. Saturn is reality. At its worst, pessimism and delays. Okay. So it's funny that they've been together for so long. They're so different, but I like, as far as the collective news, I like that these two are teaming up so we don't get one extreme to the other. I think this is when things get kind of real, so to speak. So, like I said, Saturn brings reality, commitment, boundaries. Neptune brings the dreams, the illusion, the fantasy. So we're looking at love and money themes that ask, like, is this real? Is this sustainable? Am I being a little like duped, or am I projecting? That's a better way of saying it. Like, am I having expectations and projections onto these things? You'd look at where is this happening in your chart to really get to know for you. But in general, it's really this sobering moment in a good way of dreams becoming reality. And as far as Venus themes, this could be, you know, it's Mercury retrograde. You could be getting really clear at past love dynamics, or having conversations with people from the past, or just reflecting on it, dreaming about it, having aha moments and wake ups around it, and what you want moving forward and what you will and will not tolerate, and becoming very clear about it, very empowered. Okay. But it's also, I think relationships can also deepen if you're currently in any, with like honest conversations, clearer structure, not assuming, not projecting. I think that can get everybody a little irritable with this Mars square Uranus, and like it's just kind of like and Venus sextile Uranus could be like, I don't know if I want this commitment. So have the honest conversations, be real about how you're feeling and what you're experiencing, and then through the conversation you might be like, oh, I was totally assuming that, and that wasn't really what they meant. Especially during Mercury retrograde. Okay, ask the question, ask for clarity, and provide clarity. Say the thing instead of holding on and hoping that they like dissect it and understand it. You should know why. No, like right now, nobody's gonna get it until we like say it blatantly. Okay. So financially, this can be a time around like grounding your visions. I think, you know, dream big, but make a plan is kind of the vibe. So if something feels confusing as far as like investments or money or anything like that, like don't ignore that kind of, you know, we've got an intuitive sky. Okay. So think before you do anything drastic financially. And if something feels really solid, it probably is. Okay. So with all the energy in the middle of eclipses, Mercury retrograde, all of this Pisces energy, and Venus meeting up with Neptune, I'm like, okay, ideally we're not super impulsive, we're taking a beat. But if you do take a beat and everything feels really solid, then it probably is. Okay. Feel into it. The advice here is like courage, but with discernment. Okay. Be bold about what you want. That's Aries MO. Okay. But don't bypass red flags or over romanticize potential. This transit absolutely can solidify something meaningful, 100%, but only if it's built from truth, not fantasy. Okay. And with all the Pisces stuff, we're definitely in like a little bit of a fantasy world. Okay. The moon has been in Libra, which is Venus ruled. Okay. It moved into Libra. Let's see. What's today? Friday, Thursday, Friday. It's going to move into Scorpio tomorrow, which would be Saturday. So when the moon's in Libra, we all are a little romantic anyways. We're all going to have a pulse on reciprocity, like what feels equal, what feels overgiving, resentment at its worst can pop up, keeping score, keeping tabs. And then with Venus entering Aries, we could be a little like, yeah, now go, 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 go when it comes to love or money. So with the moon also in Libra, I'm like, I'm wondering if this is going to, relationships maybe more of the loudness of Venus. Okay. Venus is also, yeah, still sextile Uranus and sextile Pluto. I'm loving this. Okay. I think, because it's Mercury retrograde, if any of you listening are going to have like conversations with people from your past, I think just be really clear and blunt and see if they show up differently. If you are currently in a relationship, like this can be defining moments as everything's looking really supportive for Venus. It's just funny in Aries. It's a little bold. Okay. All right. Then we have the moon moving into Scorpio in the evening. So Saturday, we've got the moon in Scorpio. We have the sun and Mercury will be what's called Kazimi, okay, on Saturday. So Mercury Kazimi just means it's in the heart of the sun. It's within a full degree of the sun, okay? If it's within a couple degrees of the sun, it's called combust. Usually that irritates the planet's theme. But when it meets exactly, it really amplifies the theme of the planet that's with the sun. The sun illuminates it. So think of Saturday, really peak clarity moment, okay? Insight will cut through the fog. Is Mercury retrograde in the foggy sign of Pisces, but with the sun, it's kind of like, aha, we realize why it had to slow down, what's going on here. So it's the moment where understanding will sharpen. It's still Mercury retrograde, so yeah, it's not going to be a full perfect clarity act moment. Mercury will meet back up with the sun in Kazimi, later. Once Mercury's direct again, that might be more of an action moment. But it's been, because this is happening during retrograde, what can probably be the case is the Kazimi on Saturday revealing what your Mercury retrograde story is all about. And like I've pulled cards on mine, for example. I'm like, what's the main theme of my Mercury retrograde? How can I best take advantage of it, utilize it? What's coming up or returning? And everything I pulled for myself was much more about, it's like literally like rest, reflect. I'm like, God damn it. Like, and so this might be your moment of like, oh, this is why this has been going on during retrograde. Maybe for you, it's about healing or wrapping something up. Like, who knows, right? Only you do. But Saturday might be like oh, this is why. So conversations can really land on, you can have somebody like reach out, just think Mercury things. Communications, contracts, launches, schedules, anything like that can be emphasized with this. But yeah, realizations definitely should be clicking, and decisions that maybe felt confusing before suddenly feel more obvious. And this isn't always loud because it's retrograde, so sometimes it's just like a quiet inner knowing, just heads up, but it is potent, okay? And so if the retrograde has felt murky for you so far, this could be a pivot point moment. Pay attention to what you hear, think, realize around this day, okay? Now, on Sunday, we have the sun trine Jupiter, conjunct Mercury. I think this is still, so like why I'm pointing at this, the sun is still trining Jupiter, but this is when Mercury exactly meets up with Jupiter. So when I talked about the sun trine Jupiter, just add in Mercury too. This is happening all week. I'm just showing you when it's exact. But when Mercury trines Jupiter right after it's Kazimi, like this is so good. This is so good. Reminder, we had Mercury trine Jupiter, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Because Mercury is direct, now it's retrograde, it's repeating itself, and then it will go direct again and repeat itself again. So on the 16th of February, we had Mercury trine Jupiter. Jupiter was retrograde then, but Mercury was direct. Now we have Mercury trine Jupiter. They're both retrograde. And then April 3rd, that's when they're both direct and trining again. Okay. So it's one of the more supportive moments in the sky that happens in general. Definitely during retrograde, I love it. It helps you kind of zoom out and see the bigger picture instead of getting stuck in the weeds of like, ooh, what is this about? Conversations, obviously, Mercury conversations can feel more meaningful. You can get like the bigger picture aha moments of where your life is unfolding. You can be feeling more reflective, hopeful, like we talked about with Sun Jupiter. It's like optimism, like peeking through of like, ooh, I do feel like this dream could land. So it's like meaningful energy in the sky. Old ideas can make more sense now too, because Mercury's ideas, it's retrograde coming back around, perspective could be returning. But I really like the tracking of the timelines. That's what astrology is all about, you guys. So first on the 16th of February, then Sunday, it's exact again. And then on the 3rd, like I said, when both are direct. So think of it as a story unfolding. Mid-February, maybe that's when a realization or a conversation planted a seed. Early March now is the deeper review of it, maybe rethinking your beliefs, revisiting the plans, reworking the messaging, reconsidering the decisions, planning for these things to become a reality behind the scenes. And then maybe by early April, when both of them are direct back in trine, first week of April, it's like things move forward with more confidence instead of that doubt. Because right now we still may have doubt. Reminder, Mercury retrograde. We move through clarity, doubt, clarity, doubt, clarity, doubt, pendulum swing. We drive ourselves crazy. We can have a little bit of a lack of confidence or clarity. Totally normal. I just remind you over and over and over so you don't feel other, you don't feel crazy, you don't feel confused or spiral in the doubt. Just know that it's part of the process. It's revealing a lot for you. So much can be revealed when we're feeling a little like doubty, and then you get curious about it. That's the key. Mercury loves curiosity, loves a rabbit hole. So if you're feeling stagnant or something's going on, get curious about it. Where is this really coming from? What emotions underneath it? There's so much to be revealed. I had big aha moments this Mercury retrograde already. And that's the power of it all happening in Pisces. It's unlocking a lot. Okay. So I like this energy for, we can rewrite some narratives. We can reconnect with, I think of Jupiter, it's like, it could be mentors, could be teachers, guides. You could be returning to being one of those types of people for others. So if you're like putting lesson plans together, or in teaching mode. This is funny. I'm relaunching my astrology course. So that's so on the nose. I didn't even put that together until just speaking out loud to you guys. But yeah, it's like the key is trust the process. The first pass was awareness. This pass feels more like the integration, and the final pass is execution, which is so funny. I teased out that I'm going to be launching this course, and it's going to be the last week of March, first week of April as the launch. So that's hilarious. April 3rd. Maybe that's when I put it out. By the way, if you want to learn how to read a birth chart, like pick up anyone's chart and read it to them and understand it, even a stranger's chart that you have no idea anything about them, I am opening up the doors, so to speak, of my course, which is completely self-paced. It's so in-depth, you guys. I never talk about it. Anyways, I created it the way I wish I learned, which like compounds the knowledge. It's the quickest path. And then what I'm going to do is open it in a live container. So think, spend 2 weeks with it on your own. And then for 6 weeks, I'm going to have a Q&A call directly with me, and we can talk about it, answer questions. And it's like accountability. Within the course, there's a big community aspect, so you can talk to each other and like test each other's knowledge if you want, communicate. And it just feels like, because the course is self-paced, which I love because it covers all learning styles, there's Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. I wasn't planning on this, sorry. But there's videos, flashcards, quizzes, written material, imagery. So I have a squiggly brain. And when I learned astrology, I went all over the place until something clicked. That's the way my brain learned. You might be more linear. The course is set up in a way that you're going to learn as you go, and compound your information. But I want you guys to still kind of self-pace it in a way of like, go flow it the way you want. But because it's an 8-week container, it's like, oh, I'm going to learn this within these 8 weeks. I'm going to hop on once a week with me and ask questions so it really sinks in. Okay. So stay tuned for that. I'm so excited. It's like the course is so amazing and fun. The people that have taken it only have good things to say. Okay. Anything else? All right, let's get into this eclipse, okay? It is on the third it's the third of 3 eclipses in Virgo. All right. And it is happening on the 3rd at 3:33 a.m. So funny. What are the odds? Okay. This is just easier. I'm not going to get straight to 3:33, but it's already at 12 degrees. So let's take a look. This eclipse obviously is opposite the moon, or opposite the sun. The moon is always opposite the sun exactly on a full moon. So full moons are when, like an opposition in astrology, this red line is a tense aspect. Aspects are probably the hardest thing to learn. It's in the course, by the way. So aspects of an opposition, it's 2 things squaring, like looking at each other, saying if this, then not this. But the key is actually to find the balance between the both. Now, Pisces, where the sun is, has got 1 million planets. So it's winning this battle. But the moon is what you want to look at always. I always say in a full moon, it's like, where's the moon? That holds the answer, the secret to how everything is going to feel more in alignment. So wherever the moon goes in a full moon, it's illuminating. Think of a flashlight moment. Let's look here. Here's the answer. Here's where the shift is happening in your birth chart, 12 degrees of Virgo. Watch a video saved on my YouTube of how to find where things are in your chart and layer it. It's complex, but I have that for you. But this 12 degrees of Virgo, this is where the change will happen, the wrap up, the ending, the release, the let go. It happens to be a total eclipse. So it's a full moon on steroids, okay? The South Node is with this one though. South Node is about past, okay? So there can be a tie into the past. We already know this is the 3rd of 3 eclipses in this series. Eclipses happen 3 times in a sign over 18 months. Every 6 months, new and full moons become eclipses. It's based on where the North and South Node are moving, okay? So this is a story that's connected to the past. South Node, 3rd of 3. It's Mercury retrograde. The ruler of Virgo is Mercury. We always look at that planet. What is it doing? It's retrograding in the opposite sign. So look back to March of 2025. March 14th, 2025, we had an eclipse in Virgo, 24 degrees, I believe it was. That eclipse was the first in Virgo. It was also a lunar eclipse, full moon. It was during Mercury retrograde as well, but also Venus retrograde. So if you're thinking back, you're like, damn, March 2025 was really hard. Oh shit. It's like, no, this is much more of like a graduation moment. It's really supported with Jupiter. This is kind of like a celebration of all the hard work since March of 2025 is how I would articulate it. Okay. The eclipse in Aquarius 2 weeks ago was the new 1st of 3 story emerging, whereas this is the wrap up. Okay. So March 2025 and then September 21st of 2025. Now keep in mind eclipses, you guys, 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, just as potent. So all of September, all of March. What was going on? What were the themes? Look back in your calendar, look back at your texts, your photos, your emails. I always am like, ooh, and then I look back at my workbook, journals if you got them, and look back at what was going on during that time. It might be directly like on the nose. or it may be just a similar theme in a different area of life. So I think back to March, an example, just an example. March, you're in a job and you are really pretty miserable about it. You're like, oh boy, like something's got to give. The September eclipses roll around and you start like feeling more stable enough to up level your resume, start looking. This eclipse could be when you're leaving that job and starting anew, okay? Or it could happen miserable the first one, change jobs the second. The third is like, oh, now it's that same theme is showing up in my family life. Or maybe there's a move, something like that, okay? But usually there's a build. Okay, so think back to those timelines. What were you doing? And then particularly the one in September, that was at 29 degrees of Virgo. That was a new moon solar eclipse, even though it was with the South Node, so it still was kind of like a release. But what was going on then? Because we always look at the previous new moon of that same sign's full moon, and whatever was going on in September could be paying off now. Okay, they're connected. So I really love this eclipse. Now, collectively, sure, a full moon eclipse is intense. But for us as individuals, full moon eclipses, like full moons sometimes are like an ending, a release, a let go. So sure, there could be, people experiencing, if this is hitting hard in your chart, like layoffs or breakups or something not working out. Like I said before, they're karmically shoving you in the direction you're meant to go. If you're having a layoff, maybe you get a package and then you were already miserable and it's like the universe saying, now go after your dream. It's just an example, okay? But what I'm feeling much more so, you guys, is this is a graduation, a launch, a stepping into a mature version of yourself in this area of your birth chart that you've been really trying at since last year. Okay, this feels very celebratory, an exciting moment, a peak moment. I always think full moons are peak energy. Okay, it's like when the moon is at its fullest, emotional peaks, intense, and this intense can be good, right? And like a release, a celebration, a graduation. Okay, I really love this. In Virgo, we're all asked to look at, like I preluded to before, themes around doing things with less control, with less criticism, perfectionist tendencies, all or nothing, procrastinating perfectionism, black or white. It's time to give yourself more ease and grace and flow. Learn from Pisces, the other side, that's more of a trust flowy. Okay, the blend of these together, that's what makes sister signs amazing. The opposite signs are called sister signs. And it's like, okay, if Pisces was just doing its thing, it's like maybe there would be no guardrails involved. I think of the bumpers and bowling, like Virgo gives the bumpers. You still play, you still flow, but it's just a little, let's keep it in the lane. Virgo does that for us, okay? But don't be too rigid with it, okay? Don't scream if you don't hit a strike, okay? But what I love about this is it's talking to Jupiter. It's so beautiful. Jupiter is at 15 degrees. This is at 12, almost 13 degrees. So it's a tight within 2 degrees. And a sextile ease and flow support from Jupiter, the planet of luck, abundance, opportunity, also retrograde. So I think it's from the past. Your past efforts being actualized or celebrated or recognized. Eclipses definitely are potent for 3 to 6 months afterwards. So I'm not promising on this day, on the 3rd, a big celebratory moment. Certainly a lot of people can. And reminder from the last eclipse episode, you guys, eclipses could just be landing now and you're already aware of it. So a lot of times, I think with that February eclipse, what I was noticing is like people were literally starting the job or doing the thing that week. So it wasn't a surprise, but it's just like, oh, of course I'm doing that. I got into this school and that eclipse was in my 3rd house of like learning. It just is a wink of like, that's right. Okay. So if you're somebody that's having this full moon eclipse and you're like, oh, I already knew I was going to launch my website then, or I was finishing this thing or applying to this thing or whatever. Just a little wink that, yeah, it was right. So a lot of times when you're in alignment and flow, like you're already aware of these things coming up, but certainly this can be a surprise out of nowhere. I remember in September, these happened in my 10th house of career. I got back from Greece and I got two work opportunities that landed. I was still jet lagged and I was just like, yes. I was literally giving a talk on stage during this eclipse in September. So like it can totally surprise you too. Okay. So I love this eclipse. Do not be afraid of eclipses. Full moons on steroids. And then we have a new moon in Pisces 2 weeks later. That's when eclipse season ends. I always say it starts with the moon 2 weeks before the first eclipse. It ends with the moon 2 weeks after. Okay. All right. Anything else? I think this whole week is a really beautiful time. If things feel a little slow and stagnant, just be reflective, make lists, right? Write out manifestations, try to get clear at what you want. There's a lot shifting. Try to keep your head calm and out of the news as much as you can. I'm not saying don't care about it. I'm just saying if you're the type, I get a lot of people are like, I'm so overwhelmed, blah, 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 blah. I feel hopeless, helpless. And that's when it's like, okay, to, protect your peace, take care of your nervous system. Mercury retrograde. So for the lesson corner this week, it was inspired through a Mercury retrograde moment I had. I had such on the nose Mercury retrograde last week. On the day it went retrograde, I got kicked out of a reading I was doing because of memory on my computer or storage. And I know about these things. I even looked into it before. I upgraded into the new system. I backed up. I restarted everything. But the freaking storage, okay, kicked me off. What else? I had dinner with a friend from the past on that Monday. I have a best friend coming, my best friend on the planet, coming this weekend to visit me. All these random things, right? But with the storage thing, and this takes a while because I was looking at the storage, a lot of it is all the recordings I save for you guys when I do a reading. So I had to go back. I'm like, and I always tell people, please download it. And so I always say within 30 days, but I keep them for months. So I went through and erased a bunch old moon events. But what was taking up a lot of storage in my Mac communication was in photos and videos. So I was going through the biggest videos and photos. Okay, I don't need this. And one of the videos, it was so sweet, was a video my mom sent me. For y'all that don't know, my mom passed away 2 years ago. And I took care of her, and it was a long, long, long process. And it was the worst thing ever. And so to find a video that she sent me, it was so cute. It was her, it was like an 8-minute video, and it was holding a lot of storage of her touring her house that she just moved into and asking me about feng shui of like where she should put things. And she was talking to me and she's like, what do you think of this and this and this? And it was so cute. And so that's the lesson corner this week is feng shui. I love that. Of course, I kept that video. We are not erasing that. It was so cute and so sweet to see and hear from her. But I love feng shui. I, even before COVID, launched a feng shui business because, and I saw 2 people in their homes and feng shuied their houses, and I got extremely into it. I even have a business called Feng Shui RX, like the prescription of your home. Never used it because then we had shut down and like people were like, no ma'am, don't come into my home. But I hosted workshops on it. So if you've been around that long, if you've been to a feng shui workshop, I also have in my membership feng shui information and posts and blogs and all of that stuff. I love it. So I figured let's do a little quick and dirty. We're not going to go in depth super long about feng shui. So feng shui is the like reminder that our spaces have energy to them. And so in feng shui, there's what's called a Bagua Map, which is like, yeah, I'll show you visually, but it's certain areas of your home. You superimpose this like square that have sections on it. Those are the areas of your life that get accentuated in those spaces. So, say that you are feeling like, okay, this area of my life is good, but I could really focus on my health. And if you go look at the part of your home that rules your health, and you notice you're like, oh, it's really cluttered. And there's a lot of like, there's a dead plant here and things that I've been meaning to like purge and get rid of. Do those things and just energetically focusing on that area of your space, acknowledging it, you'll notice that part of your life alleviating, getting more clear and healthy. There's also colors that are correlated that you can enhance these areas of your life. There's a love area, and that's always like, do pairs of things. If you have pictures there, don't just do a single person. Like if it's your love sector, have it be a picture of two things, or make sure you have two nightstands, two lamps, two candles, stuff like that. Okay. There's a lot of tips and tricks. So let me show you visually what I'm talking about. But in general, it's the energy of spaces and how you can use elements and colors and organization and flow in order to amplify those parts of your life and bring in luck and or wealth or health or whatever you're trying to focus on. Obviously, we want all of it at once, but our space and our energy of our space has a lot of impact on our emotional lives and stress levels. And I think with such a Pisces heavy sky, how perfect is it to take a look at your space, purge, declutter. We got the list of the Virgo moon, get shit done, and do a little feng shui. It can be very simple. It doesn't have to be complex, okay? And just, there's another thing in feng shui. The first part I don't like, which is like the decluttering type. Think Marie Kondo or the Home Edit. If you liked that on Netflix, it's like organization, right? I hired somebody to do that in my condo because like I couldn't be bothered. I'm like, label it all, organize it. That's a huge part of feng shui. Okay. First, declutter, clear out. Feng shui says nothing on tabletops. Like in my bathroom, I don't keep products on the counter. They're all stored away. In your kitchen, if you don't use your blender, but once a week, do not keep it on your countertop, is the vibe of feng shui. Less is more. If it brings you joy and it's meaningful, yes, have the pictures out. But if it's just a bunch of knickknacks, it's like it clogs the energy, is the vibe. Okay. So first there's that part of it. And then there's if you have to contort or tweak your body to move into spaces, that is not flow. It's all about flow, right? And so like my office, when you enter the door, I'm facing the door. A lot of people put their office chairs facing the wall. But a good feng shui practice is you should always be able to see the door, like see the exit, so to speak. So I always have my desks in the middle of the room facing out. That's also like directional, it's flow. Does it feel peaceful? That's a big part of feng shui. And then the other layer of it, which gets a little complex, is like the elements, the wood, the metal, the earth, the water, the fire, and what section of your home needs more of those things, those colors, those things to amplify it. Say you have a bathroom in your fame area of your chart, you'd want to offset that with certain elements. Okay, so you can really go down a rabbit hole. Maybe I should do more feng shui in the future. I still have that website. So funny. Okay, let's look at what I'm talking about with a visual. Okay. Here's a Bagua map. There's also a circle map, which is more complex and it's based on north, south, east, west. This one's more easy, which is the one I've always used. Okay. So, and if you're listening to this on Spotify, take a screenshot. This is why I started this on YouTube. It's going to be much more visual. That's my favorite way to learn and share. But I've noticed a lot of you are now listening on Spotify instead of YouTube, which is cool. Wherever you want to go, I love it. But just tune in visually. Okay, so the cool thing is, and you can Google this square Bagua map. Okay, this is just one I liked because it was simple. Now, this is the main entrance of your house. Even if your door is here, 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 I'm going to show it on a actual floor plan and how it can look different because not everybody's home is a perfect square, right? But just imagine as you enter your place, this is your door, you're facing it, and then you're putting in front of you, as you're walking through your door, this map onto your home, okay? So when I walk in, this is at my apartment now. I'm walking in here, okay? These are the colors that are good. These areas, I have like a circle mirror. Like mirrors are great for the metal element and the water element. There's colors you can use, okay? Now, when I walk into my apartment, this left side is my office, right here. Pretty good for wealth and prosperity, okay? I have a purple huge crystal right there. I have a lot of plants in here, golds, etc. This is the wood element. I won't go in deep with you, but if you're somebody that's like, okay, money's been a struggle, that's where I'm really honing in on my energy, focus on the left back corner of your home. When you're walking into your home, the left back corner is your wealth area. You want to make sure it's decluttered. You want to make sure, Google like the colors you can set up. Purple is always great for this. Think royalty, money. Get crystals like pyrite is a great one. That's fool's gold to bring in abundance. Purple crystals like amethyst are great here. Any plants, I always say plants are fantastic feng shui, but keep in mind dead plants are really negative feng shui. I don't know about y'all, but I kill a lot of plants, so please try to get rid of them, give them a little love, put them out the door. Also, prickly plants are bad. I keep cactus outside my apartment as protection. But if you put it in certain areas of your Bagua map, it's like protects you from it instead of letting it flow. Okay. So, a couple little caveats. Dead flowers, not good. Sometimes they look pretty. I still have a couple, just a heads up. Okay. Now, if you're on here and you're like, love, I really want to focus on amping up my love life. That is the back right corner of your apartment or home when you are walking in to your house. Back right corner. Pinks, whites, reds, okay? Twos, like I mentioned, if you have photos, like my bedroom is the love area, okay? So you have to make sure in feng shui, if you're calling in love, you have 2 nightstands, one for the partner you're calling in. In your closet, do you have space reserved for them? Have some hangers that you don't put anything in. Have space. Make sure, like I have a matching crystal on each end table. The pictures you have in there, like I said, have it be romantic or the colors be like romantic, okay? If you are focusing on health, like I mentioned, that's dead center of wherever you live. So think of that. Career is your entryway typically. So if you have a bunch of boxes there from getting incoming deliveries, try to clear it out, okay? And then a great feng shui is just like, okay, we are vacuuming, we are cleansing, we are making sure that there's flow, okay? So this is the main thing of feng shui. Let me show you guys on a example. Okay, so this is somebody's apartment. I couldn't find when I bought my condo, I did this on mine, but you'll notice there might be like, say your apartment doesn't have the love and relationship. It's like here and cut out. Then you want to, you know, go outside and plant a little something here, okay? But a lot of times there's just extra space. So for me in my condo in Chicago, there was an extra part of the kitchen that like leaned into the wealth area. So it's just like a nice little thing. It was also an 8 numerology apartment. So that's when my business took off, was in Chicago, right? My apartment here is a 3 numerology. So it's living here has been much more about social life. Maybe that'll be the lesson next week is numerology of homes. It's my favorite. Okay, so here's a little visible, like this person's front door is right here, but there's an extra self-knowledge wisdom area. Cool. And this person has extra love in relationships, but like I said, you might have a chunk missing. Okay, so you just layer it like this, superimpose that rectangle. My condo, for example, is just square. My condo is just a rectangle, and so like little, like these were cut in half type of thing. So just imagine, I know it's a little confusing, but if you just walk into your home and then imagine, okay, the far left of where I'm facing is my money sector. The far right is my love sector. Those are the 2 main things people tend to think about, okay? And so fitting with the Venus ruling both of those, okay, that we talked about astrologically. And if you want more travel, community, friends, focus on that area. If you want more creativity or calling in children, focus on that area. Okay, boundaries with family, focus here. So just like such a fun thing. I encourage you to deep dive further. Okay, screenshot this too while you have it up. And that's my little lesson of feng shui. I wanted to keep this one briefer than last week. Last week I talked too long, so I'm not going to do a little pop culture moment. So thanks for tuning in. Maybe next week, because we're through eclipses, we can do more of fun pop culture. Please message me what you want to see more of. I'm getting so many messages that you guys are loving, especially the updates of the astrology. So keep me posted on what you want to see more of. See you guys at the moon event tonight, or catch it on my website. And stay tuned for the announcement about the course if you want to learn how to read a birth chart. And then after that course for graduates, I'm putting together like the second type of course. I'm putting it in quotes because it won't be so in depth, because level 1 of the course, there's so much memorization in astrology, learning the symbols, the signs, the houses, the aspects, the planets. It's so much memorization. Whereas the second course will be about transits, aspects of like layering what's going on in the sky and how that impacts your chart. You can't learn that without learning all course 1, right? So course 2, for those that have already done course 1 or want to take this as the doors open, I'm gonna like select a couple people to do one-on-one training and mentorship, or small group training. Okay, like much smaller, because it's so complex, and I want to make sure that you can understand it enough to handle the complexity. So that's going to be more for people that really want to implement astrology into their work or business. I have a lot of like therapists, other spiritual modality people learning astrology, or if you want to be an astrologer, think of course 2 and beyond as much more in depth. But for course 1, you can have a lot of knowledge or no knowledge at all, and you're going to learn a ton. You can pick up anybody's birth chart and read it to them after course 1. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Happy eclipse week. Hold on to your tits per usual. The energy is crazy, but all we can do is reflect and take care of ourselves. So good luck. Keep me posted on all the things. Love you guys. Bye.